Yeah. What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday evening. Hope everyone is having a lovely evening. It is beautiful out here in Lubbock, Texas. Hope you guys are having good weather. I know there is some crazy weather in other parts of the United States right now. So if you're experiencing some crazy weather, sending you all the good vibes. And if you're experiencing good weather, also sending you all the good vibes. All right, well, I am really excited about tonight. For the past several weeks, we have been learning about music notation, some music theory. We have gone through a lot of the quantum physics of sound and the healing of all those things. And pretty soon now, you guys, we are going to tie it all together. And tonight is kind of one of my favorite things. We are going to combine geometry with music. Not that it's not already combined, but we won't talk about it in the chat. All right, so I'm going to play a couple originals as usual, and then we will talk about things, play some covers, and we will end it out with a meditation. So I'm only going to do 2 originals for you guys tonight because I'm doing 3 covers. So training up there. All right, here we go. This is lots for you guys. It doesn't really tie into the theme tonight. It's just for you all. So here we go. I am scared. I'm going through a lot right now, trying to change into the one I'm fighting for. The one I know that if I stand up straight and sing a little louder, life's got much in store for me. Beyond this body, this space, this time that floats away to freedom. Slow your mind down, let it be. You are everything that you need. Slow your mind down, let it be. Nothing's left here. Nothing's left to do. 'Cause nothing's wrong, yeah. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong, yeah. Nothing's wrong with you. I ask why you're doing it again to me, but I pick myself up and I shout to the heavens. I will not stand for this. I will fight for freedom. I'll fight for bliss. Beyond these wars, this space, this time, beyond this body, what I know is mine. I'll do it over and over. Slow your mind down, let it be. You are everything that you need. Hey, Julie, what's up? Glad you're here this evening. It is an honor to host for you, sister. I was just thinking about today how grateful I am for you and for Gina and for all the people that have been a part of this stream. It's really gonna be cool looking back on it. When we had our little group of learning all this information, and so yeah, it's out there forever on the World Wide Web as long as the World Wide Web is operating. So glad to have you. Seriously. All right. This second song is how I normally just end out a show. It's called Lullaby, and it is along with the theme because it talks about time. It's one of our themes tonight. I want you to know you're beautiful, that your face is my face, that your heart is golden. I want you to know there's a place in this world where you never feel lonely and dreams are remembered. So don't cry, my friend. It's only a matter of time, a matter of time. Don't cry, my friends. It's only a matter of time, a matter of time. And when all you hear is the negative, turn your face towards the sun. It's just a perspective. The times that we're living in are beautiful. We can make it together if we learn to listen. So don't cry, my friends. It's only a matter of time, a matter of time. And don't cry, my friends. It's only a matter of time, a matter of time. I just made the funniest sounds that humans make. That's really funny to me, you guys. No matter how cool, I try and be straight up honored, and will be for life. That's cool. I've accepted it. All right, moving on to the chatty chat. I have like a 90s bang today. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like the one hair, you remember in the 90s, like people curl it up and stuff. I should have done that. Would have been really cool. But anyhow, moving on right along to our chat tonight. So we've talked about many things in the music theory realm, right? We have talked about the 12 tone chromatic scale, which what I'm meaning by that, I'm just going to be starting on C a lot tonight, but know that any of this could be transferred to starting on any note tonight. But to keep us right in the mind, we will be starting on C a lot. So when I say the 12 note chromatic scale, I am going up in the smallest increments, which are called a semitone / a half step. Two names for the same thing in this guy. Till I get to the octave, right? Okay, so that is, here's one note. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Before I repeat, right? Okay, one thing we have not talked about in regards to all of this shenanigans is a thing called intervals. And just like in sports, when you do interval training, you're like, I'm going to run my heart out for 30 seconds, then I am going to walk for 1 minute, and then I'm going to repeat those intervals, right? They are the same thing kind of in music, which is a distance, right? A set distance. And in music, we can make a distance between notes, whether they are happening simultaneously, right? There's a distance between those notes until I get to the octave. I'm increasing. Or they can happen separately. I wish I knew that classical piece. I think that's how it starts. Okay, so an interval, the distance, is the exact amount of half steps that are involved from one note to the other note, right, that we're referencing. So we like to consider ourselves having a bass note, and then the second note is a certain interval from the first note. So here is a handy dandy chart that I like, and it is showing us all the possibilities using C. Like I said, you could start this at any other note, but for the ease of things, we're using C a lot tonight. So if we have 0 half steps, remember they're also called semitones. I don't know why, just to be confusing. But if we have 0 half steps between one note and another note, it is called a unison. Crazy, right? Now, if we have C as our bottom note and we're going to go 1 half step, shortest distance, right? Then we call that a minor second. Now, do not start thinking too much about this right now. It's mainly just good to sort of memorize and just accept what I say for the time being, that these are what they are called. And once we've kind of processed that, then we can get into why they are major and minor seconds, thirds, etc. All right, so C to C sharp, also known as D flat, right? We've talked about that in harmonics. Those are the same pitch, but have 2 names because they're cool like that. They cool like that. Minor second, right? Now, if I start on C and go from C to D, which is 2 half steps, if you watch my fingers, there's my C. There's with 1 half step. Now I'm going to add another to D, right? So the interval between C to D is 2 half steps, right? Or a whole step. We call that a major second. All right, and now I'm going to just briefly go down the rest of the chart so you can see. So from C to D sharp or E flat is a minor third, C to E, major third, C to F, perfect fourth, C to F sharp, etc. Tritone, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, octave. All right. That is as much as we can go before we start that whole shenanigans over in theory. So let's say we keep going C to the next highest C sharp. Well, some could say that's still a minor second. Some people get really bougie and they call it a minor ninth. Guitar people do that a lot. Some jazz people are very specific about which octave you're in. But if you're analyzing music for all practical purposes, all of those C sharps are still, well, then, okay, it gets a little bit weird there. Once you're going down, right, that could be a minor second, major second. It gets weird. Depends on what you consider your starting note is why I mean it gets weird, right? So if I'm playing C right here, like my OG C, then I'm going to this C sharp down here. If I play this note first, the lower one first, at that point it's considered not a second. It's considered a seventh. All right, don't think about that too much. That's advanced stuff. We're just hitting the basics right now. Okay, so like I said, I could start that anywhere. I'm going to start on G. Here's minor second, major second, minor third, major. Right? Those are intervals. And of course, our favorite interval here at Philosophonics, the octave. All the G's, right? Okay, moving right along, I want to show you guys one more picture of the intervals. Since you might have seen the class on music notation, here we are looking at intervals on the triple clef at the top. So that is C, if you'll recall, that little ledger line guy, middle C. And it's showing us if you play the exact same note, it's a unison. Now, here's where I said don't think about the minor major seconds too much because I'm going to make it make sense. If you're just thinking about the letter names, okay, C to D, right? Any kind of D. It could be D flat. Or actually, it could not be D sharp. This is where it gets very hard to teach and kind of just like put your questions in the chat sort of land. But if you'll look at that second measure, we're going from C to D. All right, so just think about the letter names for a minute with me. That is a second. C to E, and that third measure is a third, right? We're just using letter names, so C, D, E, third. C, D, E, F, fourth. C, D, E, F, G, 5, okay, etc. 6, 7, 8. Now, why those can be major or minor is because the distance can get, if you're just looking at letter names, you can start using sharps and flats to stay on the same letter name, but increase or decrease the interval. Okay, I recommend if you really want to learn that, Google intervals, musical intervals, because that's kind of like a little bit more complex, the major and minor and why those are. Anyway, for now, that's what they look like on the staff. And then here is the bass clef, unison, boom, boom, same note, G, right? If you think about our little acronym, ACE is the spaces on the bass clef, and G. Okay, a second down, a third down, a fourth down, and they're showing you a fifth down, but really a fourth up. Okay, I'll do this in a later class, like the complexity of intervals, because right now I don't want to confuse you guys. All right, Coolio, intervals, they're distances between the notes We got so many of them before we really start repeating ourselves, just like the scale. Because us musicians, we don't like to use all the letters. Just A through G. That's good enough. All right. So what I want to then caveat to now is a word called a triad. Now, when you think tri in Latin or anything like that, it usually means what? That's right, 3. So a triad is 3 notes together. Okay? You might know it as a chord. 1 note, 2 note, 3 notes. Triad. All right, here's another triad. Here's another triad. It's just 3 notes being played at the same time. That's 4 notes. I cheated. My finger was playing. Okay? Boom. Triad. Now, we can make we're just going to talk about mainly the major for now, but we can make a major triad. Let me pull back up our intervals by using our root note, right? So in this case, C, good old C. And then a major third and the perfect fifth, right? So if I'm talking the letter names, starting on C, C, D, E, okay, that's my third. F, G is my 5, right? So I have the notes C, E, and G. And that, my friends, is how we construct any major chord. Right? With a major third and then a perfect fifth above your root note, right? So home exercise for those of you watching. Let's do one with G. Okay? So G is 1, then A, B is my major third. Okay? And you can know it's a major third by making sure that it has 4 half steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look, it has 4. It's a major third. And then my fifth, right? So G, B, on that one. C, D is 5. Oh my gosh, you guys know how to form a triad. Now, we can take this one step further. I know this is a lot for the brain to process in one night, but you're doing amazing. Just want to say, all of you, so proud of you. All right, so now we know triad, 3 notes at a time, right? Oh, what happens when you add more than that, Ashleigh? Well, you get what we call a 7th chord. Okay, now, there are other kinds of chords that have 4 notes at one time, but a very common thing when you have 4 notes is the 7th chord. What do I mean by the 7th chord? Well, looking at our interval chart again, we already established the triad. C, E, G. The 7th note, look at all those 7s, minor 7, major 7. We can have both those kinds of 7th chords. So we're throwing in a B because it's the 7th note of the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? 7th note. So we have C, E, G from our triad. Add the 7th. Boom. Now I'm adding in a B natural right here, which if you'll notice is a major 7th. I can also add in a B flat. That is the blues 7th. It's called a dominant 7th. And that changed a lot of music. When we went from this to this. Right? Now, there are many kinds of 7ths. I'm just going to blow through them really quick because if you want to go down that rabbit hole of how many different types of 7th chords there are, go for it. But here is major, dominant, minor. Hold up. Lord. Okay. Diminished and half diminished and augmented. I think I did them all. All right. So yeah, just know that within those little variations of making it a minor third or a major third there. So how you form a minor chord is you have, instead of a major third from C to E, look at the chart, you have a minor third, C to E flat. Cool? So it just lowers by 1 semitone / half step. All right. Those are just like touching the surface of some pretty common chords. Actually, how most songs are built is with triads in mind or sevenths, right? And some cool notes thrown in. But I had to say all of that in order to get us to here, which is what I am most excited about to show you. So, back to where we started. Just take a breather for a minute. That was a lot to process. Julie, how you doing? Doing all right? Everybody else watching, hanging in there? That was a lot. And mainly, I just need you to understand the concept of the triad, because I'm going to show you something cool. All right, so let me get this going because it's so fun. Can't even tell you. I'm super excited. Boom. Oh, yay. Okay. I'm glad that it's all good, because I just kind of took y'all on a big wild walk in the woods there for a minute. And I'm really glad that we've made it out to the other side now so I can show you this. You're not going to see my face much tonight. Sorry about that. My bad. But what you are going to see is this beautiful little thing. So, like I said last week, what also has 12? Well, let's just say it, the clock does. So I would like you to see this little circle of life I have going on here as a clock. So if you have 12 at the top, obviously, and then the rest of the hours with 6 p.m. being at the bottom, 9369, you guys know how a clock works. If not, put it in the chat. We'll talk about how a clock works. But what we have done here, what someone that I pulled this graphic from the internet has done here, is put our starting at C, which once again, this whole thing could be shifted to start on any note, but to keep our minds right, we're starting on C. Put the chromatic scale around the clock. So I'm going to go around in a circle. Check it out. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and we're back around to C. And then I could keep going around the clock forever. Let's go backwards around the clock just to make it make sense. C, B, A sharp, A, G sharp, G, etc., all the way back to the lower C. Great. And so on and so forth. So, here is where we can start combining geometry with the scale. It is amazing. And what I would like to show you guys is some cool stuff. So let me get my program. And also forgive my ghetto drawing of lines tonight, because I know there's like a way to do a vector that would make this be a straight line, but alas, I did not figure it out. All right, so C to C, back to our intervals, right? You can really see the half steps around the clock, right? It's just another hour. So if I wanted to do a whole step, which is 2 half steps together, I would draw that line, C to D. Okay, now let me just show you what a major scale would look like, because it's whole, half, whole. Oh gosh, that line was super bad. Hold on. Let me try and draw that line. Forgive the absolute slowness of this process tonight. Whole and back to C with our half step, right? So the major scale pattern, whole, half, whole, half. And if those are straight lines, you'd really be able to see it. But what I have drawn right there is this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Right. So actually, there is a genre of musicians that really picked this up a lot. Jazz musicians use this quite a bit. Some of them to help them find quickly different modes, scales, chords. But other than that, I'm not really sure it's like widely used. I don't know why not, because I think it's a really easy way to see theory. All right, so there's your major scale for you. What I want to show you is some cool stuff. So if you'll recall, we came up with the C major triad, which was the note C. Oh Lord, help me draw this line. E, right? That's our first, third. And then G. Holy cow, friends. I don't know if you guys are as amazed by that as I am, but music just drew a triangle, and I'm pretty sure that's a right angle triangle. So that's pretty amazing, and that is what the C major triad looks like. I could go back to my C, just like I did with the line, right? So that is what this chord looks like, is a triangle. All right, amazing. I skipped one. Obviously, it's pretty obvious, but if you're just involving 2 notes, it makes a line, right? So C to E, there's a line. You could do a line from one note to the other anywhere. All right, and now check this out. We can make all kinds of shapes, right? What on earth? Right, so that is, I believe it's called a hexagon that I just made. That would be this. Which coincidentally is called a whole tone scale because it is all whole tones. And there is music written off of that. Okay, and I'm going to show you one more before we just go crazy with it. All right, C to E. So here is our 7th. It is not pretty. Not, oh my Lord, that line. Okay. One of the 5-year-old draw that. All right, it looks kind of like I don't even know. But you get the point, right? I just made a 4-sided figure of the C dominant scale. And there is a way to make a square, of course. What you know about the dirty South and drawing all the geometry on the circular scale. Okay, boom, there's a square. That sounds like this. That is a diminished chord. Square. Okay, so as you can see, you could really, really, really go on a tangent with this, and you could basically make geometrical patterns using this all day long, right? Because not only could I do this triangle, right? I could do this triangle as well. Right. Oh, Lord. Now I have a Star of David. I believe that's what that is. I'm not sure. But as you can see, this can get pretty cool geometrically. Real quick. It can get real cool real quick. All right, so I'm not going to draw any more of my ghetto lines because now we're going to move on to show you some people and some things that are next level about this. Yeah, it's just mind blowing to me. Like, it's some cool business. All right, I'll show you my face for 1 second. So I did not know that this term existed, but when I started looking up, I thought previously that a man named Joseph Schillinger was the one that kind of like brought this to the forefront, using the clock and the scale, but evidently he did not. Evidently, he had other ways of analyzing music that I could not find his connection to this, which is crazy because I remember in the early 2000s, like going to it 1,000 times. But to my knowledge, what I saw today, there's a couple composers, fairly modern actually, that are credited for using this a lot. Peter Schott and Jenny McLeod. So props to you guys for using what you guys call the tone clock. I'm pretty sure that people have been equating these two for quite a while. I just kind of naturally like thought about it one day. I was like 12 and 12. Wow. And then then I went to the Joseph Schillinger webpage for years, and now I can't find where that is connected. Anyhow, I did find today that a group of folks have created a webpage and termed something called cosmometry. And they define that as, or it is defined as, the measurement of the world or universe. Cool. Super big idea. But they are putting this type of geometrical equating with music and intervals under that category. So I just wanted to bring up that word, cosmometry. It's interesting to me. I definitely will be looking at it because when I went to their webpage, not only did they have this music information I'm about to show you, but they also were doing it with nature and all other kinds of stuff. So check that out. And what they have done is a little bit different than what we just did. If you'll recall, we went over something called the circle of fifths, which in music helps us figure out key signatures and the order that they occur by just going up by fifths, right? So back to our intervals, the fifth we've talked about actually in quite a few things. Fifth, right? C to G is a fifth. Then that circle goes around G to D, D to A, E, keeps going in fifths, right? In a circle. So these homies, which actually this was something new for me to see done today. It's getting so beautiful. Look at their straight lines. Lovely. But okay, if you will scroll your eyeballs to where you can see the letter C, which is where we usually like to start a lot of things, you can then go clockwise to the right and see the fifths happening. So these folks, instead of doing the chromatic scale around the clock, still that there's 12 notes, went by the circle of fifths. And if you go to that bottom C, you can go clockwise, seeing the circle of fifths again, G, D, etc., 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 right? They're just starting at the B part of the circle of fifths at the top, which this system is pretty fascinating. So they are showing you, if you're just connecting the fifths, you will make the red lines. If you're doing the whole tone scale, like I showed you guys earlier, that's orange. Minor thirds are yellow. Major thirds green. Chromatic and tritones, which are part of those intervals we talked about, right? So that, I believe, are the shapes that each of these intervals are making if you put this, go by the circle of fifths. This is beautiful to me, and I just want to stare at it all night long. All right, so that's the first image I wanted you to see and have your mind blown by, because to me, there is most geometrical and trigonometric patterns available in that. Okay. This is why I had to get you guys familiar with the letter names and all that kind of stuff so we can talk in this way. So that, if it wasn't cool enough, these people. Okay. Here's where we're getting pretty crazy. So now they're still using the circle of fifths, all right? But now this is a 3-dimensional version, okay? So find your C, because I really feel like they should have just started with C always. Everyone should. Then you can see C to G, G to D, D to A to E, right? And this is made by putting the circle of fifths in a 3-dimensional way. And you could form all of those same patterns from the first image I showed you, now in 3-dimensional capability, by organizing it in this way. Okay. If you have taken chemistry, if you watch the first part of Philosophonics, where we saw how sound is moving, you might start putting some things together here. Now, when we get to next week, we are going to basically be talking in both languages where we combine everything. So we'll be combining frequency and those intervals, right? The octave, the 2-to-1 ratios, just like the platonic ratios we talked about. Also, I will be using the letter names for ease of seeing things. And we will be looking at basically 3-dimensional creation using frequency. Okay. I'm just going to let y'all think about that for a little bit. These next couple weeks are gonna be pretty heavy on the philosophical side. I'm not gonna lie. So, uh, yeah, that's where we're at. That's how you can start seeing the geometrical stuff. It's breaking open a little bit the veil, uh, but we will be going back to kind of the science version of this a little bit while also using the music theory part. All right. The philosophical aspect for tonight, which I actually had this realization, is that we can put all of these things in 3 dimensions, just like the image I just showed you guys. When we add time, right? So something was here and then it's there, right? On the quantum level, that can be broken a little bit. But let's say on the musical level, if I have a triad, right? I'm making that triangular shape, right? In 3 dimensions as well. Then over time, if I'm playing 4 of them, or if I start changing the chords and dimensions over time, we are now in 4-dimensional shapes. It kind of breaks my brain a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to leave it at that because I think that is a lot to think about. And I'm super excited that we've finally come to this point where we are able to discuss all of this philosophically. Are we slipping into 4 dimensions there? Are we slipping into more than 4 dimensions? Somehow. Okay. I'm going to play some covers for you guys. And I will leave you with that. So have fun making geometrical patterns with music. Theory now. We've done that with frequency before. And next week we will, like I said, fuse those both together. So thanks for listening. Proud of you guys. Here is some covers about time and clocks. And then we will end it out with a meditation. Love y'all so, so much. Wherever you are, get comfortable. Take a big, deep breath. And let out anything that's stuck with you this week. Once more, take a breath as deep as you can and let it out, releasing any extra energies you no longer want into the ground beneath you. Tonight, we're just going to repeat that process. Breathe in love, compassion, gentleness, whatever you need. And exhale what you don't. don't, sending it to the ground beneath you. Do this now on your own time. And slowly